Put it over there?
Yeah.
That interception where you had to out-jump your own teammates and the other guys, I mean, that was quite a scrum that you had. And then what did you see looking back on that on tape?
Well, Coach Aquino always says the hungrier dog gets the bone, so you just have to be the hungriest dog on the field in order to make that play. What ended up happening was Bobby had just great instincts getting the hand on the ball whenever the ball was thrown, and the ball was just sitting in the air. It was just like waiting to be picked out of thin air. So me just having kind of zonish eyes after seeing the ball go in the air, I just went over and, like I said, I just had to jump up and get the ball.
How would you grade out the DBs in this game, having gotten to see it a couple times?
The DBs on our team?
Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal. Just across the board, phenomenal. You get a chance to break down the film, you'll see that guys were lucked up pretty much all game, just across the board. It was very difficult for their quarterback to make throws and not allow time for our pressure to get home too. So if we continue to have a standard like that throughout the rest of the season, it's going to be terror for opposing offenses to want to throw the ball against us.
Did you feel pressure to go to LSU, considering your dad ran track there and your brother was a star?
Oh yeah, heavy pressure. Definitely a very, very heavy influence coming from SEC country. Most of the people from Louisiana and from southern states usually stay in the southern states to go to school there. And like you said, my dad was an All-American track athlete there. My brother was an All-American football player. My mom went there. My sister went there. I knew all the coaches. I still know all the coaches and have a great relationship with them. But looking back, you know, to whenever I was going through my recruitment and having my brother be beside me and able to be a figure of information, a figure of influence that I was able to look up to whenever he moved out here when he was playing with the Niners, and he saw the influence that just a Stanford degree, and also with Coach Aquino coming here, and then whenever I got to take my recruiting visits and I got to see for myself how the school really was, there's just no comparison for any other school for me to go to.
You played soccer?
Yeah.
Until what grade?
Soccer was my main sport until about sophomore year of high school. I didn't really start playing football seriously until my freshman year of high school. I was on a travel club for soccer, you know, traveled to different states across the country to play with my team.
Who's better, you or Ryan?
Ryan. I'll give that award to Ryan. He actually played college soccer.
Okay, so how good a soccer player were you? What position did you play?
I was a striker and an attacking mid. I was a solid player. In my younger days, it was mainly just being the best athlete on the field. I remember sometimes I used to have a guy like man guard me wherever I went on the field, but I was a decent player.
Did you have a good goal celebration, sliding on your knees and all that?
Nah, that's more of a
That's
like
pros.
Europe league. Yeah, we didn't really get into all that. And
How often do you talk to your brother, to Eric?
decently often, maybe once every 4 or 5 days. I actually talked to him this morning to see how he was doing with his knee injury,
Yeah.
and excited to hear that he should be back soon.
Is it weird to think of him as a social crusader, the way, he's trying to make an impact?
You know, it's funny you say that because it's kind of a interesting thing because I still just see him as my big brother. Like I see him as still my mentor in football, mentor in, you know, some of the life decisions, life choices I try and ask. But also I see him doing these awesome works just out in the public, making an impact across the entire country. And it's weird because you see it in my shoes and you're like, whoa, that's pretty awesome to see my brother doing that. But at the same time, you're like, that's still the guy that I used to, you know, sleep in the same room when I was 4 years old. You know, so it's kind of a little back and forth game you play, seeing them in different shades of light from my big brother perspective and also this crusader for activism.
Do you see? Can I just follow up on that? Do you see yourself following in that role as well when you get to be an NFL player?
I feel like that's something, the way, to credit to my parents that they raised us. My parents have always raised us to stand up for what we believe in and do what is right, and just, if we feel strongly about something, not to just stand idly by and let things go by unchecked if it's the wrong thing to do. So that's just a product of the way that we are raised as a family.
You also ran track. Was it up until your sophomore year?
Yeah, I ran hurdles was my main events, but I was a 4-event guy.
Okay, and what other events?
I did 4x2, 200 open, the 4x1, and the 110 hurdles.
Because your Dutchtown High finishes a state runner-up as a sophomore.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah, I know. And I actually never got a blue ribbon because my teammate was the best hurdler in the state. I ended up getting third in the state, but my teammate was the first place hurdler in the state. So I actually never beat him, but track was his sport. So I was always happy supporting him, coming in right behind him.
Dutchtown High has produced Eddie Lacy and then 2 NFL safeties and Landon Collins and your brother. I mean, is it just safeties are bred over in that area?
Yes, it feels like it's safeties and running backs. We've had a fortunate crop just to come through my school. My school is pretty young. It's about 15 years old. So we just had a nice group of guys be able to come through the school so far.
So in the second half, it's been talked about the defense, but with the base defense a lot more. It seems to put a lot of pressure, responsibility on the shoulders of the DBs to match up one-on-one. I was wondering your take on that, watching the game again, and kind of going forward, if that's something that's going to happen more and more.
We're always up for the challenge. We feel like we have a very strong group in our defensive back room. So if we're able to help the guys up front sometimes by allowing them to load the box and then us lock up on coverage, and that's just what we're going to have to do. And other times throughout the season, we go into cover 2 so that way they can give us some relief, some help whenever the ball's getting thrown out a bunch. So it's just a figure of how the game goes and how the game's going to see if the team's going to run the ball more, then we're going to try and load the box more. If they're going to pass more, we want to give some relief to the secondary. So it's just a product of how the ASU game went that we decided to just lock up more and load the box more to stop their run game.
What does Utah like to do in their pass game? Do they have a lot of option routes? What do they like to throw at you guys?
They like to do a lot of seam routes, a lot of stop routes. I noticed that a bunch of their routes are deeper. Like instead of a typical smash route where the under route would be at 5 yards and the other route would be at about 16, the stop route would now be at 10, and the other route is about 22 yards. So it's the same generic concepts you'll see across many offenses. They just like to run them a little bit deeper. Also, a major unique thing about their offense is just that their quarterback is very mobile, very agile. You've seen him make plays all over the field, just using his legs to escape from pass rush and also some design QB runs. So we're just going to have an eye out to contain that.
Their quarterback picture is up in the air, isn't it, between the two guys?
Mm-hmm.
Does that present a problem for you?
Well, we're going to prepare for both guys.
Yeah.
We're going to be ready for both of them. Number 1 is a more mobile quarterback, and number 3 appears to be more of a pocket passer. But their offense is going to be run either way. They're going to call the same plays, and they're going to expect that guy to come on the field and perform. So we're going to prepare for them just the same.
Coach was just saying that he thinks you guys are pretty battle-tested now after some of the games you've played. This is going to be a very hostile environment and probably pretty loud and raucous. As a player, I mean, do you think about that, or does it make you excited, to get ready for that kind of a challenge?
I love it, especially coming from the background that I come from. I love playing away games, going to other people's houses, and then trying to steal their own home turf for our own and put our own W on top of their field. But we're going to prepare for it just the same way we prepare for any other game. We're going to have some changes, maybe with the way we practice. We're going to add some noise to the field so that way we can prepare for the crowd. But other than that, we're just going to run our scheme. We're going to play Stanford football, and Stanford football is what's going to win us the game. We're not going to try and adjust what we do for other teams.
Coach Shaw said that he showed the team the 25 broken tackles that Bryce Love had on Saturday. I mean, what makes him so hard? How hard is he to tackle in practice?
He's very tough, and we've all lived it on our defensive side of the ball whenever we're going through camp. I mean, you see it when this guy he's very fast, he's very shifty. And some people try and say that he's a track guy. Bryce Love is not a track guy. Bryce Love is a football player. You see the way he runs through tackles, you see the way he drives his knees, you see the way he's able to find holes and run through them, and he's not afraid of contact. He's a football player, and he's a very good football player at that.
Thanks, Justin.
Hope you finally get a pick 6 out of this.
Hope I get some return yards at all.
Some-
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Justin.